Let's kind of go back to this idea of uh, examples that are really good about describing these experiences, right? And recently you talked about one with Delta Airlines. It really was highlighting an unusual set of empathy. Can you kind of
Mhm.
discuss how this level of empathy can create word of mouth and enhance that customer experience?
Yeah, I mean, what creates word of mouth? My previous book was all about that. It's called Talk Triggers, and it's all about sort of strategic word of mouth. The thing about word of mouth, what people talk about is something different, not something high quality. One of the big mistakes that businesses make with regards to word of mouth is they assume that competency creates conversation, and it doesn't. Competency keeps your customers, right? Competency reduces churn, but you don't say, "Hey, Christian, let me tell you about this experience I had last night. It was perfectly adequate." Like nobody ever says that, right? Because it's not a good story to tell and it's not a good story to hear. And because it's not a good story, you're not going to repeat it. Because what is word of mouth? It's just a story. What's a review? A review is word of mouth with shelf life, right? So every review also has a story typically, which is why you don't see a lot of 3-star reviews because there's no story. Like, hey, I paid them and I got pretty much what I thought. 3 stars. Like people don't spend time doing that. Reviews are typically 5 stars. This is amazing. I can't believe it. Or 1 star, stay away, right? There's a story inside the review because it's word of mouth. So you notice things that are different and you just sort of ignore things even if they're high quality that you expect. And so I was going to Australia a couple of years ago to do some speaking for Volkswagen of Australia, and my wife got to go with me that time, which was cool. And we were connecting on the flight from LAX to Brisbane, which is a long day. And we're going through the gate there, and the gate agent scans my boarding pass, boop, and looks in that little black box they have there by the gate. I don't exactly know what's in that box, but it's got to, obviously it has your name and your seat number, that I know, but it must also give them your status with the airlines because the boop, oh, Mr. Bear, thank you very much for your loyalty to us here at Delta. We appreciate your diamond medallion status. Hope you have a nice flight. And that was, that was nice to hear. But I fly so much, like I've heard that story a lot, right? So it didn't really, I wasn't shook by it or anything. But then she scans my wife's boarding pass, boop, looks in the little black box, and I presume realizes that my wife does not have very many frequent flyer miles because she says, "Oh, oh, Mrs. Bear, Mrs. Bear, I'd like to thank you for what you must be doing at home to allow your husband to spend so much time with us here at Delta. So, ma'am, in particular, I hope you have a spectacular flight."
Never happens.
Never. And we went down that, I mean, we legit went down that jetway in tears because not only did she like completely nail our relationship dynamic and how important my wife is to the work that I get to do, but we'd never heard anything like that, right? That kind of acknowledgement and awareness and just sort of situational empathy. What I love about that story is that's not a script, right? That's not a training exercise inside Delta. That's a person treating a person like a person. And to me, that's the root of true empathy. And those are the things that stand out. And so then you talk about sort of the downstream impact of that, right? I've told that story, probably 100 times on stage to audiences between 400 and 2,000 business leaders, plus in a book, plus in a few podcasts. Like a lot of people have heard this story because I keep telling that story. And what's the ROI on that? I don't know, but it's definitely positive.